Yo, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the Steam 2 video. And in today's video, we're making a build for the Salvation's Grip. This was the perfect season for this weapon to get a catalyst, so Bungie gave us one, and it makes this weapon even better this season with all the stasis stuff. So today we're going to be talking about what is the new catalyst, what it does, and also a build so you can make the most out of the Salvation's Grip. The build is going to be a Stasis Hunter build that's all about breaking those crystals and doing lots of damage with them. And the things that you're going to need for this build are going to be the Salvation's Grip, of course, with the catalyst, and also the Mask of Fealty, which is just like the best stasis exotic now. It is just so good at doing anything stasis related, especially pairing it up with the Salvation's Grip. But as long as you have those two things, you're going to be able to make this build work, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. And let's get into it. So let's start off with the Salvation's Grip. This thing is amazing this season. It makes a ton of crystals, mean that you can put out a ton of damage to this weapon against bigger targets, against just groups of ads. It is just a really good weapon this season with all the stasis mods. And you can get the catalyst for this weapon just by completing one of the core activities. It can be either strikes, gambit, crucible. If you do those, you'll have a chance of getting the Salvation's Grip catalyst at the end. Now, what is actually the catalyst? And the catalyst essentially just gives you a perk. It gives you the new perk, Ram Stealer, meaning that whenever you destroy stasis crystals with this weapon, you're gonna get frost armor. And this is a really good thing that you can have on this weapon. You essentially charge it up, fire a bunch of crystals, fire another shot, and you pretty much get maxed out frost armor used immediately. So on top of all the ad clear and damage that you have with this weapon, you'll also have some damage resistance, which is pretty insane. Especially because this will work on anything, on any class. You won't have to be on stasis for this to actually work, but the weapon definitely works better with stasis, and that's why they are pairing it up with a stasis build. Now for the exotic armor, we are on the new Hunter exotic. This just works so well within the build that can make a lot of stasis crystals, and we have pretty much like the best build to make a bunch of stasis crystals. So with all the crystals that are going around, we can throw our Withering Blade and blow all of them up all at once, and that pretty much makes everything disappear. It is very rare that something actually survives that. They usually just straight up die. Now for the subclass, like I said, we are going to be on pure stasis. This is just like the best way to do it. Now for our class ability, we definitely want to go with Gambler's Dodge, so we can get our melee ability whenever we need it. And for your grenade, you want to go with the Glacier Grenade. It just gives us another way of making some more stasis crystals. And since the build revolves all around the crystals, we just want as many ways to get those out there as possible. So this really helps us. Now for the first aspect we're running is going to be Grim Harvest. Whenever we defeat a target that's slowed or frozen, we're going to create some stasis shards. And those stasis shards are going to give us back some melee ability, as well as give us some frost armor. And this is essentially what's going to keep the frost armor going after we initially proc it with our grenade launcher. This pretty much just makes sure that we're always max stacks on the frost armor, so we always have that damage resistance. And our second aspect is going to be Shadow Dive. I really like Shadow Dive just because it's a really fun aspect, especially since all the crystals we're going to have out there, and it also just gives us another way of breaking those crystals. So now we have pretty much three ways of breaking the crystals. We can either Shadow Dive, we can hit them with a Withering Blade, or we can just shoot them with a grenade launcher. You could also change this to some of the other aspects. To be completely honest, this second aspect doesn't really matter as much, so that's up to you. Now moving on to the fragments, the first one we're going to have is the Whisper of Rhyme. This will give our frost armor increased duration, so instead of just being 10 seconds, it'll be 15. And it also is going to increase our max stack count from 5 to 8, meaning that we're going to be able to have even more damage resistance than we usually do. After that, we're going to have the Whisper of Fissures. This is going to increase the damage and burst size of our stasis crystals or frozen targets. So our crystal and frozen explosions are just going to have a bigger radius, and they're going to do more damage. So that's going to be really good. Next we have Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal will temporarily boost our grenade recharge rate. And this is really good. We're always going to have this on, essentially. We have so many crystals out there that this thing basically is just permanently on, giving us that increased regen, meaning that we're actually going to be able to spam our grenade a lot. So every time that you have your grenade, make sure that you use it. You're going to get it back really quickly, and it's a way to like save on some of the grenade launcher ammo. Next we're going to have the Whisper of Hunger, and this is going to increase the amount of energy we get from those stasis shards. We are going to be picking up a bunch of shards, so this is really going to help with just the uptime on our melee charge. I rarely ran into any situations where I actually didn't have at least one melee charge. And if I did, all you gotta do is just do a quick dodge and you'll be able to get one. So with this, you should pretty much always have a melee charge ready to break some crystals. And the last fragment is gonna be the Whisper of Conduction, which makes it so nearby stasis shards track to us. And it sounds like a very small thing, but it makes just playing with the build so much better. You're basically always going to be on the move. You never really have to worry about picking up the stasis shards. They just come to you. You get all that melee energy and also class ability energy from picking up the shards, as was constantly having like your frost armor refresh. So this one's really nice. This one's like a quality of life type of fragment that just makes just playing with the build much better. Now for the artifact, we pretty much just have like the standard stasis and grenade launcher mods. For the grenade launcher, we have all of them. All three of these mods you want to have on, and you want to have pretty much 2 grenade launchers. Your heavy grenade launcher and also a special. And for the stasis ones, the most important ones are going to be brain freeze, so you can slow other targets when you freeze things. Surf Coal, so you can also get some class ability energy whenever you pick up the stasis shards. Hail the Storm is very important. Whenever you shatter a stasis crystal, it's essentially just going to damage and slow things that are around that crystal that didn't die. Armor Bearer's is more of a defensive one. It pretty much just freezes everything around you. And lastly, Crystalline Converter. This is another way of making some crystals by picking up those stasis shards. And with the helmet that we have on, sometimes Crystalline Converter gets procced, it spawns the crystals, and the same Withering Blade that procced it pretty much just blows up immediately. It is pretty nice. It's very satisfying when it happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's very satisfying when it happens. Wind Chill and One with the Frost are also going to be okay, but they're definitely not necessary. And now for the mods that we have on the build. Here for the helmet, we're going to have Heavy Scout and Finder, as well as a Harmonic Siphon mod so we can make some orbs. For the gauntlets, we're going to have Melee Kickstart to help with our melee uptime, and then Impact Induction and Momentum Transfer so we can get both our grenade and our melee back faster. For the chest piece, it's pretty normal, just normal resistances. You can change these to whatever you see fit. Now for the boots, we have Invigoration, Absolution, and Orbs of Restoration. All of these are essentially just going to give us ability energy back to our melee, to all of our abilities, and to the least charged ability. And lastly for our class item, we have Bomber, Distribution, and Outreach. Whenever we use our class ability, we essentially just gain everything. Melee energy, grenade energy, super, just everything. And now with that, that's gonna be the end of the build. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. Like always, there will be a dem link in the description below and in the comments in case you guys want to give it a try. And if you do give it a try, make sure you guys come back here and just tell me what you thought of the build. Overall, I really like this catalyst. I feel like it plays into stasis very well, but it can also just play very well by itself without stasis. But overall, I actually really like the catalyst that they went with on this weapon. It seems like they probably thought about like making this catalyst for a while, but they just didn't know what to put on it, so they actually had to make like a whole new perk to even put a catalyst on this weapon. But that's fine with me. It's definitely better than just getting a little bit of extra reload speed or something like that. It's definitely something that enhances the weapon and makes it better. But anyways, thank you all for stopping by, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care everyone. Peace.